A new Gallup poll finds young Americans are now more pessimistic about jobs than older Americans, which has literally never happened before, even during the Great Recession. The American Academy of Pediatrics just issued its first new recess guidance in 13 years, and one of the authors summed it up perfectly. We all kind of need recess. Amen. And a professor in Arkansas spent a week noticing his shoes kept moving, food kept disappearing, and chairs kept turning up in different spots before his family found a man living in a storage closet in the basement. Every day the news cycle produces roughly 1,000 stories. About 6 of them are about politics, and that's the only ones people want to talk about. I went looking for the rest. This is News Side Quest. A new Gallup World poll of 141 countries finds that only 43% of Americans aged 15 to 34 say it's a good time to find a job in their area. That compares to 64% of Americans aged 55 and older, a 21-point gap. The gap between young and older Americans' view of the job market is now larger than in any other country among the 141 surveyed. Here's the detail that makes this alarming rather than just discouraging. For years, younger Americans have been more optimistic about jobs than older ones, even during the depths of the Great Recession. That has always been true. Young people normally have fewer physical limitations, fewer family liabilities, they can adapt more quickly. They're supposed to be the optimistic ones. The pattern just broke. Around the world, the global median shows younger people are more optimistic than older ones. 48% of young people globally say it's a good time to find work, compared to only 35% of older people. The U.S. is one of only 5 countries in the survey where younger people are significantly more pessimistic than older ones. The 4 are China, Hong Kong, Norway, Serbia, and the UAE. Not exactly the company we'd like to keep in that matter. The Gallup analyst who published the findings called it an incredibly new phenomenon, adding that last year was the first time in Gallup's history of polling that younger Americans were more pessimistic about jobs than their peers in other developed countries. Has this happened in most other advanced countries? The answer is a resounding no. Now here's the thing that makes this complicated in an interesting way. The actual unemployment rate is 4.3% and the economy is actually still adding jobs. This isn't a collapsing labor market, at least right now. It's a frozen one. Hiring is slow, layoffs are also slow, and the result is a market where people who already have jobs keep them, but people trying to enter or move within the market find almost nothing moving. That pattern hits young people hardest, especially educated ones who haven't landed their first real job yet. Add AI anxiety on top of a frozen market, and you've got the specific cocktail that produced this number. Listen, I'm no economist, but this doesn't seem like a great sign. When the generation that's supposed to carry the next 30 years or so of economic activity doesn't believe there's a place for them, that's not just a young person's problem, that's an everybody problem. So what would actually make you feel a little bit more optimistic about the job market right now? What specific thing, if it changed, would shift the picture for you?
Let me ask you something. When you come in on Monday and you're not feeling real well, does anyone ever say to you, sounds like someone has a case of the Mondays?
No. No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
The American Academy of Pediatrics just released its first updated recess guidance in 13 years. Yeah, that's a thing they do. It was published this week in the journal Pediatrics. I've got a copy right here if you want to read it. The headline finding is that recess isn't just for little kids. The updated guidance affirms that kids of all ages need regular unstructured breaks and that recess has been increasingly threatened over time by the push for higher test scores. One of the lead authors says it plainly, it's a very powerful benefit if it's used to the fullest. New evidence shows that brains, children's and otherwise, need pauses between concentrated bouts of learning to actually hold and store information. Without breaks, you can keep putting things in, but retention suffers. Recess also gives kids a chance to navigate relationships, work through social conflict, and build confidence. things that can't be taught in a structured lesson. And then one of the researchers said the quiet part out loud. A pediatrician involved in the guidance noted, as kids get older, they're more on their screens. So it's really helpful for outdoor activity and recess to be happening. And then she added, recess is great. We all kind of need recess. We all kind of need recess. That's the whole thing right there. I'm taking kids of all ages to mean adults too. Think about what recess actually is. Unstructured time, no agenda, no outcome you're being graded on, just the activity itself. For most working adults, that describes almost nothing in their day. Everything has a purpose, everything is optimized. The idea of time that just exists without producing something has basically been engineered out of adult life, and the research is pretty clear about what that costs. So what would be your version of recess? Not exercise, not productivity hacking. The thing you do that has no agenda attached to it. The thing that's just the thing.
Now to check on the free-range children.
Dutch Hoggett, great name by the way, a professor at Harding University in Searcy, Arkansas, started noticing odd things around his home over the course of about a week. His work shoes, which he always left by the back door, disappeared. Chairs kept turning up in different positions. Food kept going missing. He and his wife told their daughter and son-in-law, who initially suspected the couple was misremembering things. Then they did a thorough search of the house. In a storage closet under the basement stairs, they found a 41-year-old man who had set up a makeshift bed. He cooperated, left the house, and was later arrested by deputies. The family's response was actually pretty gracious. They said they weren't angry at the man who was homeless and apparently just looking for shelter. They felt bad for him. They just didn't want him living in their basement. That's a remarkably level-headed position to take when you find out a stranger has been sleeping 20 feet below you for a week. There's actually a name for what happened here. It's called frogging, from the idea of a frog jumping silently between lily pads. And while it sounds like an urban legend, it's a documented, though uncommon, crime. Experts say these signs are often exactly what the Hoggett family noticed. Small things that don't add up, food that moves, objects that shifts, the deadbolt that suddenly locked when you don't remember locking it. This is absolute nightmare fuel. When I was single and living alone, any unexplained noise had me convinced someone was in the house. My coping mechanism was just deciding that I didn't have anything worth stealing anyway. So what's your most unsettling, I thought someone was in the house experience? The noise, the feeling, the thing that turned out to be something or nothing.
Mom, there's a weird smell and a lot of cursing coming from the basement, and Dad's upstairs.
If you want to go deep on a story with real stakes, the Titanic series is running on the Side Quests feed. 10 episodes, free condensed versions for everyone, full extended cut for paid subscribers. If you like what we do here and want to help keep both feeds going, the Substack subscription is the way to do it. Find Side Quests wherever you get your podcasts, or just visit newsidequest.com.
Bravo! That'll be hard to top. I pity the next Tale of Interest.
Researchers deep beneath the Swiss Alps deliberately triggered 8,000 tiny earthquakes in a controlled geothermal energy test, injecting fluid into rock faults to study whether the energy could be harvested safely. Listen, we may not have flying cars in 2026, but we now have a functional earthquake machine, which means the window for the world's first geology-based supervillain has officially opened. The researchers say the quakes are too small to feel at the surface. The supervillain presumably disagrees.
We're surrounded by liquid hot magma.
A pencil is running for governor of Oregon. It is a real registered candidate. The filing was accepted. The campaign slogan, as best I can determine, involves being sharp and never running out of lead. It couldn't do worse than most of the people currently in office. Feel free to apply that to whichever politician you'd like.
We must move forward, not backward, upward, not forward, and always twirling, twirling, twirling towards freedom.
A man at a hospital in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, smashed through a wall and ran naked into the woods. He was a patient. The circumstances that led to the wall smashing were not fully explained in the reports I found. The Kool-Aid Man was unavailable for comment. I want to add that Puxatawney is already the most famous small town in Pennsylvania for a groundhog-based weather tradition, and this does not simplify its public image.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh yeah!
A sailor reportedly found a dead rat at the bottom of an energy drink can after finishing it. The only thing worse than finding a dead rat in your energy drink is finding half a dead rat in your energy drink. I have nothing to add to that.
Oh, rats.
That's it for News Side Quest. 3 questions still out there. What would actually make you feel optimistic about the job market? What your version of recess is, and your most unsettling someone might be in the house experience. Email me at newsidequest@gmail.com or hit me up with the Substack comments. See you tomorrow.